you can't get to the level that I got to without using anabolic steroids. The biggest mistake that I see is that little kid that he was giving lessons to was Tiger Woods.
All right, guys, we just got done filming our very first on-the-go podcast, Cart Convos, with Gerry James. It was a great episode. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we're excited for future episodes to come. Subscribe if you haven't. Let's get into it. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anytime, any day you can golf is a good day, right?
That's exactly right. What's your handicap these days?
You know, before my surgery, I was probably about a +3 or +4, close to a +4, +3 point something.
Okay.
Now I'm probably an 8. Shoulder is one operation that's really, really difficult to overcome.
Yeah.
And yeah, number one, it hurts. Like I don't ever remember having such pain with anything else in terms of recovery.
Yeah.
And
you left shoulder or right shoulder?
left shoulder, and it's my pulled shoulder, and it's the shoulder that I turn on. You know, basically either shoulder is probably pretty devastating, but it didn't feel good, and the problem is that it didn't go well. So I'm going to probably have to have a complete shoulder replacement. They tried to clean it up, inject stem cells in there,
Yeah.
and platelet-rich plasma, but it didn't work. So I still have a significant amount of pain, and I've been trying to let it recover. As a matter of fact, today will be one of the first days that I played. I played, one round other than this, but when you're used to hitting the ball off the tee, carrying it 300 plus,
Yeah.
and now you can carry it 200 plus, that's a significant change.
Yeah.
So it's just the length of the swing and the momentum you can get in it.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, I'm still okay.
Well, appreciate you coming out and
it's my
pushing through
pleasure.
the pain.
Oh yeah, it's no problem. Like I said, even if you play in pain, it's still better than sitting around.
Well, there's a good chance you still beat us today.
Well, we'll see.
Even
We'll
with
see.
the obstacles.
Yeah. Okay.
So you were saying you were at Quail Hollow,
Yeah.
and your son.
He's a director of distance instruction there, and Carmel, so he's at both golf courses, mostly working on, people's distance,
Okay.
through strength and conditioning and, some golf swing stuff. And of course, because the fastest way to distance is the efficiency of the golf swing.
Something that I need to work on.
Yeah, the more efficient your swing is, the further you're going to hit it.
You were hanging with Bryson.
Yeah. Bryson's a friend, and as I alluded to earlier, kind of a campaign supporter, and
Yes. I want to hear about that. too.
running for state senate, you need all the help and support you can get from good people. So I went down to Miami and met with him, and
Very nice.
he was on board completely with, my policy. Well, I say that we didn't get too into the weeds, but
Sure.
he's a Christian man,
Yep.
and I am. He knows where I'm at spiritually as well. So I'm not just one to proclaim a greasy grace faith. I take it literally, and the gospel of Jesus Christ is the hope for the world.
Amen. I want to hear more about your campaign. I'm going to try to get out of this
Yep,
this
you got
bunker here. So you ran for Florida State Senate.
Florida State
2022?
Senate. Yeah, 2022 and 2024.
Okay.
The guy that I ran against originally, he cycled out, and I knew he was going to cycle out, which I figured if I didn't beat him in 2022, it would be an open seat. Little did I know that there would the entire state of Florida was going to conspire against me, because I knew the grift. And the grift is that they're heavily involved with the insurance industry through campaign donations and PAC money, and lobbyists to basically keep their power.
Oh, well, that ended up being great.
Better than I deserved, right? Which is grace. For it is by grace we have been saved through faith, and not of ourselves. It is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast.
Amen.
Better than we all deserve.
That's right. Right here.
Oh, sweet. Stayed up. Great.
I did stay up. That was a little closer than I thought it was going to be. So you're a man of many hats. Was politics always on the... Was that always part of the game plan?
Not at all. I just got sick and tired of seeing the corruption within our legislature, both state and obviously national. And, everybody complains about it, but I determined myself that I was going to try to do something about it. And it's different levels of corruption. On a national scene, you have the industrial war complex that contributes largely to the PACs, to keep seems like perpetual wars going on, and on a state level, it's the insurance industry and the development industry here that's they fund the lobbyists, that fund the PACs, that fund the politicians through nefarious means, such as sitting on boards and doing just things that might be legal but are unethical.
Sure.
So I decided that I was going to try to do something about it. And arguably, if there wasn't vote manipulation, I would have been elected the first round for sure. The polls read that we were doing very, very well up and even to the last couple weeks. And,
wow.
The incumbents have a way to sneak it out, and they'll do by whatever means necessary to win an election, which, I thought here in Florida, that kind of stuff didn't happen.
Sure.
Yeah. Very revealing. The whole political scheme and atmosphere is very revealing, and, it's a big boy game, and I didn't know what I was doing necessarily when I jumped in at first.
The first time?
Yeah. And they knew that, so they took me rather lightly, but they didn't take into consideration my work ethic, and being a world champion and all the other things that I did. So I transferred that energy and that work ethic into, the political scheme, and went out and spoke with people and, spoke very plainly as to what I felt the needs were of this state.
Sure.
And the one thing that we still have to do is get our ties away from the political corruption with the PACs and the lobbyists. As long as the legislature is tied into the PACs and the lobbyists, you're always going to have a skewed system, and one that favors the corporations over the people. And I was going to try to get in there to legislate for the people.
So before I ask about being a world champion, how did you get into golf originally?
So I was a bodybuilder, and then, I moved to Southern California and was training around some of the biggest bodybuilders in the world at the time, and then became one of the biggest bodybuilders in the world. Won the Mr. California in 1990, but prior to that, there were some people that came into the gym and, initially said that there was an open tryout for the USFL. And so I was a really good athlete, and I just went down and I ran a 40 for the Oklahoma Outlaws and ran a 4.82 40 at 270 pounds.
Wow, unit.
Yeah, and so they signed me right there because of my speed. I didn't really necessarily have any football skills.
Yeah.
We merged with the Chicago Blitz and became the Arizona Wranglers, pardon me. And, the USFL then demised after a year there. And so I really didn't have a career in football. But from that, I got some exposure and then went and was asked to wrestle. And so there were some people that said, hey, I know some people. And I went up to get trained in that with a guy named Vern Gagne, who basically trained the Hulk, and he trained Ric Flair and a lot of the other guys.
Yeah, sure.
And so I trained to be a professional wrestler in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and went all over the world and did that for a period of time. But unfortunately, in wrestling at that time, and probably still is the fact, you're either a drug addict, alcoholic, or a pervert, and usually a combination of all three. And as a Christian man, it didn't, I didn't care to go down the road with the guys.
Sure. I think I might be in the bunker right here.
Yeah. And we got out of here when 2003. I knew California was about to implode, and it did.
Yeah. I love visiting, but I'm glad I live in Florida.
Me too. It's really the greatest state in the United States.
I think so
too.
too.
It's just incredible. It's just.
So you were saying you got out of wrestling. I know that was a couple minutes ago, but
yeah. I just you as a Christian man and somebody that was going down the road with these guys always really convicted me, and too much temptation.
Sure.
Really,
Sure.
Probably the hardest verse in the Bible that people can deal with is the verse in John. It says, "Do not love this world, nor the things in this world. For if any man loves this world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in this world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of this world." Now, if you really break that down, everything's there in wrestling.
Sure.
The lust of the flesh. Look at me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The lust of the eyes, the beautiful, gorgeous women around there, both in and out of the ring. And the pride of life. I'm the best. I'm world champion. And then you're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, you can buy yourself pretty much anything you want to after a while. You roll around in your $120,000 Mercedes, and everybody look at me. But the conviction that I had was overwhelming.
So after wrestling, that's when you transitioned to pro golf?
No, I went back to bodybuilding because I was disenchanted. That was the original thing that I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I just did it I didn't do it for money. I did it for, basically how I wanted to look. And,
sure.
You can't get to the level that I got to without using anabolic steroids. And so I went from one compromise to another compromise, But, to be fair, I used anabolic steroids under a doctor's care at that time, because during that period of time, you could go to a doctor and get prescribed sports enhancement anabolic steroids. So, I went from benching 335 naturally to within a year and a half, maybe 500. Wow. I was benching 500 pounds for a couple reps, and so I went from a body weight of probably 225 naturally, 230 to 275, 280.
Wow.
And didn't really put on any body fat.
Wow. All right, so 275, benching 500 pounds.
Yeah.
Did that for a while.
Yeah. I ended up benching 550, which I had a pretty strong bench.
Yeah.
Squatting, 600 and pulling 600. So I wasn't a huge squatter, and I never tried to really power lift that much. I found it too hard on your body, but did a lot of reps. Did a lot of rep sets with like 315 for sets of 10 or 15 reps, and just leg work till you puke almost. So
yeah, I can imagine.
Significantly because when you're 6'4.5", 6'5", like I am, you have to round your body out to make it symmetrical.
Proportional.
Yeah. And I had a very symmetrical physique, which is why it was more like a old style Frank Zane physique.
Okay.
Rather than a Ronnie Coleman physique or a Jay Cutler physique. So I was more in the classic bodybuilding genre
Yeah, okay.
at that time. Yeah.
So this was all before golf.
It was, yeah. And when I won the Cal in 1990, I knew that I didn't want to continue on with that because, you know, it was just not conducive to raising a family
Sure.
and living the lifestyle I wanted to live. So I was just going to go to work. And I had enough money, fortunately, that I saved from wrestling that I could figure out what I wanted to do.
So after that, professional golf.
Yeah, it took a while. So, you know, you can imagine a guy going over and taking lessons that weighs 285 pounds at, you know, 10% body fat. And that's literally what I was.
Yeah.
285 at 10% body fat. Isn't really conducive with good golf. So I really sucked. You know, really.
How old are you at this stage?
I was 29.
Okay.
Just turning 30.
Okay.
So I had just won the Mr. California, and I went out and there was a driving range across from me in Southern California called MacArthur Place, and I started hitting balls. And I was bad. I mean, I couldn't hit a ball to save my life straight. When I got a hold of one, it would go. You know?
Yeah, I bet.
So I decided that I had to get lessons from somebody and learn how to play this dang game, or otherwise, you know, it's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
So there was this kid that was always in the paper in Southern California, and he was winning everything in junior golf. And I thought to myself, who in the world is this kid's coach? And it was John Insamo. And so I looked him up. He was at Meadowlark Golf Club in Huntington Beach.
Okay.
And I called over there and I said, could I get a lesson with John? They said, yeah, come here on Saturday. Because they asked, I've worked, you know,
Yeah.
I worked, you know, a little bit. And so I went over and I got a lesson at 10 o'clock in the morning with John. I'll never forget it. And he just laughed at me because John was a little guy. He played with Hogan actually and Sneed, and he was old school.
Wow.
But you know, at that time, you couldn't really make a living out playing golf professionally.
Sure.
Unless you were one of the top, you know, 10 in the world.
Yeah.
So, but he knew the golf swing, and that little kid that he was giving lessons to was Tiger Woods.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I watched Tiger take multiple lessons and mimicked that, and then he taught me the same basic technique: grip, stance, alignment, posture, everything that Tiger was learning. And dude, I got good fast.
I believe that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, in 18 months I was scratch.
Oh my gosh. Am I in the path of that green bunker?
I think you are.
Oh, that'll be interesting here.
It will be. Now, you know, if it's me, you know, I'm chipping over it. Well, no, I guess you're not.
Okay.
You're all right.
We'll see. Maybe I'll bring both just in case. Tiger's coach. You got a lesson.
Yeah, John. It's a master teacher. You know, back in that day, I mean, he didn't have a camera. You know, no launch monitor or anything.
Yeah.
All the stuff I teach with now and, you know, take advantage of and use, he didn't have any of it. But what he did have is a great eye and taught us just unbelievably good, solid fundamental basics. So much so that, you know, about 10, 12 years back, I had the opportunity to have lunch with Butch Harmon. And I asked Butch, I said, what did you teach Tiger when he came to you from John? And Butch is a rather crass individual. He can hold court too. He said, not an effing thing. He goes, he says, you don't teach a Rolls Royce how to run. And I said, good, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And he just, you know, basically worked on his wedge game, shortening his wedge stroke up a little bit. Okay. And boy, I'll tell you, the rest is history. But from John, Tiger had the fundamentals down. And I mean, the proof was in the pudding. You've seen him when he was hitting balls. 16, 17,
Yeah.
18. He won everything junior-wise.
Yeah.
You know, the U.S. Junior, the U.S. Am. And then not too long after, Tiger became Tiger.
Gerry is an absolute beast. It's been fun having him on. Golf game is not, it's not my best day, but we're having fun. So I'm gonna go try to find my ball. So did you immediately jump into long drive?
No, the reason I did is to basically make money to fund my aspiration to play golf professionally. You know, the thing that was crazy is really nobody that I can ever think of started playing golf at 30 years old and made it to the PGA Tour.
That's crazy.
But I thought I could, because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I really believe that, and always have. And so I never limited myself to anything. I never even let, I never let anything limit me, money, nothing. So I just tried it, and I tried to play golf professionally. The good thing about learning an efficient swing is that at my size, I could hit it better, longer than everybody. I mean, because here I am 6'5", and I have a very efficient golf swing that I learned from John. Much to, the same fundamentals as Tiger had, of course. And I was flying a ping 1 iron, or a 2 iron, I guess, into the net at Meadowlark, and the net was right before the road, and it was 285 yards, and I was flying it in the middle of that fence every time with a ping 2 iron. And John was like, "You are the longest guy maybe in the world," and I went on to go prove that. Turn your shoulders a little bit, just that guy. Oh, yeah,
a lot better. So how long from your first lesson to your first professional event?
2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I played the Golden State Tour. My first real professional event. It was really weird. I didn't know how long I was how good I was gonna be, and I was just told, "All good, man. You're all good." Yeah. It was I was told by John, just go. Don't waste your time as an amateur. Just go out and play professionally. See what you do.
Yeah.
Because it was basically the same entry fee,
Yeah.
So I went out and I played a tournament, a 2-day tournament down in San Diego in Carlsbad at a golf course, and it was misting rain. And I played I got paired with a guy that just graduated from USC, and he was playing on the mini tours, getting ready for the fall, because at that time there was one tour school, and that was in the fall. And I shot 65 or 66 in the rain.
Wow.
In the rain, and I was just bombing and gouging, and I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest compliments I've ever had in my professional career up to this day is we got through. He didn't say much to me during the round, and we got through with the round, and he goes, "Where in the F did you come from?" He was like, and I go, I just started golfing. He was like, then it made him furious. That's bullshit.
Wait, who is this?
It was, I forgot his name now.
Your playing partner?
Yeah, it was the guy that I was playing
gotcha.
with.
Yeah.
But he was getting ready to go play on tour, and he had been
Gotcha.
playing junior golf. Could have been John Burkle. It was some guy like that. And he was like, that's
That's so funny.
So, yeah.
How long did you play professionally? Like what was that portion of your career? What did that look like?
So, I played all the way till I was, 60 some. The shoulder obviously can't do it anymore, but professionally at what level? Because you can play a lot of levels at professional golf. You can play club pro golf professionally, so those are professional tournaments.
So I guess what was your journey?
So, I made it to final in senior tour school.
Okay.
And, made it to the senior U.S. Open.
Nice.
That's about as good as I got. I won 13 mini tour events.
Okay, cool.
So it was all right. I was never great. I was never a great player.
I would say
I was good.
Great compared to the average golfer,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
was probably a +4, but I worked really hard at it.
Yeah.
And never let anybody tell me that I couldn't. This is a good drive.
That is a great drive. So other ventures, financial advising, prison ministry.
Yeah. The only reason I got into financial management is because I lost a lot of money through a nefarious broker that I had in managing my money. My sister worked for him, and the downturn in, I think it was 2001, he got me into a stock called March 1st. And he put about 6 figures of my money, or not quite 6, but put a significant amount of money into that stock. And it went belly up, so I lost it all. And I'm thinking to myself, there's got to be a better way I can invest my money and not lose it. And so I started delving into safe investments that would give you a fair return.
Yeah.
And so I basically got my licenses and started investing my own money, and still do it for people. And the one thing I can say to everybody is I've never lost a dime of their money. Not all the time. I've been doing it now for over 15 years, and not one penny have I lost of their money. And provided a lot of people with a great retirement for a lifetime.
Wow.
So basically that's what I do, a lifetime income planner. So they give me a sum of money, and I invest it, and I grow it, and then we turn the money on, and they can never outlive it.
Yeah.
So it's a pension for life for them and their spouse, and then everything that's left over goes to their beneficiaries. Prison ministry, I got into it because I was called, and my pastor challenged me, but for the grace of God, there goes I, here go I.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I grew up with a very rough background, rough father. My father was unfortunately, he was a tyrant and alcoholic and so on, which is one of the reasons I've never drank in my life. I don't do alcohol. And then plus, I got saved by the grace of God at 9 years old in Vacation Bible School.
Wow, amazing.
And so he gave me eyes to see at that point, even at 9 years old. And then his hand's been up on me since then. And truly it has. People have no idea what God has kept me from, basically. So I decided to get into prison ministry out of the service to the Lord Jesus Christ. You don't have to necessarily do anything. You don't work for your salvation. For it is by grace we have been saved through faith, and not of ourselves. It is a gift of God, not of works. But James, Jesus' brother, said, show me your works and I'll show you your faith. So there's a standard there that you need to uphold, and that you should feel compelled to, if you are truly a Christian. So that's how I got into it, and I do, pretty hardcore prison ministry, level 7, level 8 security prisons, where unless you're catching at least 20 years, you're not getting into that facility. So I see some of the worst of the worst, but yet at the same time, these guys made mistakes, and I think there should be a better rehabilitation prison system than we have currently in the United States. Not that I'm anybody that thinks that you shouldn't pay for your deeds in life, but just to house people and not try to rehabilitate them is not, to me, it's not biblical.
Sure. What is a common mistake that young people make financially, and what advice would you give?
So the biggest mistake that I see is they don't put any money away at all. They're spending their money as soon as they make it. So, if you just put your money away, and I'll tell you, if you were smart, People were smart. They would buy life insurance, whole life insurance, index universal life insurance, as long as it's the right policy when they're young, because it serves two purposes. Number one, it protects, your loved ones long term. You can buy it cheap. It's, when you're 20, 21, 23, 25, 30 years old, you can buy life insurance cheap.
Yeah.
Then you can start funding that policy, and let that policy, if you get the right guy working with you, they can let that thing grow, and it'll grow at 6-8% over the years. And when you get ready to retire, you can borrow against that policy, and so it's a tax-free retirement rather than putting money into a 401k or an IRA and paying tax on it. You can just borrow, and then once you die, the death benefit pays off the loan, and the beneficiaries, your beneficiaries, wife, children, whatever, get the death, get the bulk of the money that's in that policy. So if you're, this is the way for me that I create generational wealth and then actual wealth, and create a tax-free retirement with younger people, and they don't consider it. They don't. Most people and financial advisors hate this.
I was going to say, I feel like
they hate
that's
that
not
option.
Spoken about a lot.
They want you in. They want you in the market so that they can take their 1.5%, percent annually, or even 0.75%. Well, over a lifetime, that adds up to hundreds, sometimes tens of thousands, or hundreds. It depends on the amount of money. But
interesting.
That would be one way.
Yeah. So success can be subjective, but in your mind, out of all the ventures that you've had, what has been the most successful for you, would you say?
Honestly, I asked my mom what was the best day of her life, and she just said to me, honestly, the day that you got saved at Vacation Bible School. And so success, I don't measure success, worldly success as true success. Success will be, to me, if I get in front of the Lord Jesus Christ, even though I'm a wretched sinner, and I know I am. I'm horrible, but by His grace, my success will be, well done, good and faithful servant. You've done what I called you to do. And in some degree, I haven't done enough. I know you can never do enough. It's hard, but I've done something. So that would be my version of success.
That's a great answer. I have two young kids, 2 under 2. When you were doing all of these, how did you balance family, career?
And we live in a different generation now.
Yeah.
And my generation, or how I perceived that I was going to provide for my children, was the most important thing to me that there was. So my wife staying home, raising those kids, was extremely important. For the most part, that happened. So I made enough money, tried to make enough money where I could keep her home, raising those kids. Now, a lot of dads, they want all this me time with their kids and everything, and they think that that's their role. For me, my role is to be a provider, and that's God's mandated role, I believe, for a man, to be the provider, be the head of the household. So that's how I did it. The touchy-feely stuff of it all, that's not me, man.
That's all right.
I whipped their hind ends when they needed it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
What are you doing now when you're not golfing?
Well, I'm in the Word a lot. You asked earlier, what my greatest accomplishment was, and I don't, Paul the Apostle never felt like anything that he did on earth was an accomplishment. And I quote him that I've been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. In the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. So in that, I do a lot of, or I try to do a lot of ministry. And then, I mean, I'm not golfing as much as I did.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of financial work, providing lifetime income support for people that they can't outlive, and try to grow a little bit of their money. And just try to serve my wife. And that's the thing that, most people get into marriages, men and women, they want to be served, but they don't want to serve. I've been married for 36 years, and the one thing that I knew, is unless both partners come to that marriage to serve each other, the marriage isn't going to last. So
It's a great reminder.
you need to be a servant, and Christ came to serve us. And so if you're going to be Christ-like, and you're not serving your partner, you're not Christ-like, and you're not Christ-like. You're not serving your children either. So you need to be a servant, and so I can honestly say, praise God, that we're good. Her and I are really good.
That's great. 36 years. That's
and hopefully it'll be 50 or 80 or whatever. So.
Dream foursome, dead or alive, anyone. Who would it be?
Oh, I guess I'd always like to play with Hogan. Believe it or not, Greg Norman I thought was one of the greatest players ever, and just because he could drive it so well and hit it so straight. So Hogan, Greg Norman, and either Tiger or Jack.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's
Classic.
Obviously three of the greatest players. Snead was great. So was Nelson. Those guys back in the day, they weren't playing the golf courses that the guys are playing now. I mean, the guys that are playing now, these golf courses are really, really tough.
Yeah.
I was just, up at Quail Hollow where my son works, as I said, and I just don't know that those guys, with the equipment now that you can use, certainly they would have been there with us, but the length of that golf course was just so unbelievable. Even in my heyday, I would have still been hitting a few mid irons into some of those some of the par fives are 514, 520. Par fours. I'm sorry, par fours.
Yeah.
So they're it's just a beast of a golf course.
Yeah, it's no joke. I'm right under that tree over there.
Okay.
Okay, so you're a member at TPC. That's your regular course. What top three, or favorite course of all time out of everywhere you've played?
Top 2, 3.
Or favorite overall, whatever it is.
I would say Whistling Straits in Kohler, Wisconsin is pretty hard to beat. That's a really, really, really good golf course. There's so many. I liked, for the beauty of it, Old Head in Ireland. It was pretty cool.
I can imagine.
Yeah, because you're looking straight down cliffs, 200 feet to the ocean.
Yeah, that's sweet.
There are just so many really, really good golf courses. Midwest golf courses are really, really hard to beat. Really, really good shot.
Thank you.
Nice hole there.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been playing golf?
I didn't really start actually getting into golf till end of college, so I'm probably, I had played randomly with buddies in high school in the summer, maybe once or twice, but so that would be 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, you've got a lot of game, really good swing, good fundamentals.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You should tell my friends that, who are much better than me.
Yeah, well, obviously you have to play a lot to be good, but No, you do a lot of good things.
Thank you. I'm trying to get that handicap lowered.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
you want to hit a few?
Yeah.
He says yes.
Okay.
Thank you for coming out.
My
I
pleasure.
appreciate it. Happy
Yeah.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
We're doing a series, Cart Convos, where we have business owners, entrepreneurs, influencers come on. Is there anyone that you would recommend us bringing on this Cart Convo series?
Mike Valancourt Construction.
Okay.
Ask him if you could just play 9 holes with
Yeah.
him. And he's got an amazing story. He's a really good dude. He's a Christian guy, good golfer. One of my best buddies
Okay.
in North Florida.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.